Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Campus Care Edtalks. Edtalks is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. A topic for the discussion is community services for student development, and to express their viewpoints on the same, we have with us Ms. Jayshree Patel, ma'am, education consultant. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mehek and the Entab team for inviting me today to speak on community service. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. It's so good to have you here. So
Thank
let's
you.
start off with the session, ma'am, shall we?
Sure, sure.
So, ma'am, when we talk about community service, how do you explain it and how is it important for students, ma'am?
Community service in very simple terms is work done by a person or a group that benefit others. You know, anything that we do which benefit others is community service. And usually, you'll find that all the nearby places that you live in, or the school you go to, and the nearby areas, that are there, community service is possible in and around the areas of your community. However, now community service has spread across different places. So, even online, during COVID times, we've done online community service, but usually within a community so that the community reaps the benefits of the work that we do. So it's selfless work, you're not going to get paid for it, or you're not going to get anything in return. It must be done willingly by a person, not because of any kind of pressure. And it does involve, some difficulty or cost to the person giving help. For example, if a student or a person decides to do, say, 5 hours of community service, then the cost is the time given. Sometimes you have to go to a certain place, so the distance, the travel, and sometimes you might have to even spend money from your pocket to do this particular service. So it does involve some kind of difficulty or cost as well. It's very interesting when you had called me about talking about community service. Since my background is from psychology, I was reading up, and the evolutionary biologists, they've come up with a very interesting thing about community service or pro-social behavior. So we have an inborn natural tendency to help other members. Like, it is very, very, I would say, important for us to help other members, members of our own species. So this inborn tendency facilitates the survival of the species. So, which is very interesting that if we help, we survive and thrive better in this world. So, community service is basically something, a help given to other person.
Very well explained, ma'am. So, when we talk about community service, that it is, helping other students or other human beings. So, how is it important for, students to become a well-rounded student?
Okay. So, for students, it's very, very important to do community service. As you rightly said, it helps them become well rounded. It helps them develop socially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in many ways. So, socially, it improves their skills. When you work in a team or you work with people from different backgrounds, students get opportunities for interaction. You make new friends. It also enhances team building skills. When you're working in a community project together, Each person has a certain role to play in a team. So you understand how to work in a team. Then it also teaches you the civic responsibility, the responsibility, the social responsibility we have towards people who are lesser privileged than us. So it makes them an ethical human being, building a good character.
Yeah.
Students also develop a sense of responsibility towards people who are less fortunate, and don't have all those facilities and resources which perhaps we have or the students have. Interestingly, for students who are indisciplined or have some conduct or behavioral problems, community service can really benefit them. It gives them a sense of purpose and respect for others. Psychologically, I would say it can decrease stress and depression. One of the most important factors of depression is isolation. But in community service, you cannot isolate yourself. You have to go out and speak to people and do things. So, therefore, it also has psychological benefits. It boosts confidence, self esteem, a sense of accomplishment, increases students' knowledge through experience. So, there is, I think there is a absolutely endless list of the benefits that a student can get through community service.
Absolutely, ma'am. And when we talk about, helping each other, there's a sense of satisfaction, that,
Absolutely.
yeah, I helped
Absolutely.
that person. Yeah.
Right.
So, ma'am, moving forward, do you think when we, when the students volunteer for foster students, does it helps them in some ways for developing, this sense of satisfaction or,
Yes, of course. Volunteering, is that you want to participate in a specific activity. And today we are talking specifically about community service. So volunteer can help a student, by expanding their network. They can improve their network, connect to more people, build soft skills like communication, gain a lot of new knowledge. I can just give you an example. When I was a teacher, we had this iCamp project in the school I was working with. And basically, the project was to set up an iCamp in a slum project, in a slum place of the city. And that involved a lot of work for students. There has to be some campaigning going. So they needed to go out there, door to door, talk to people that we are going to, set up a camp like this. And you can come and visit us and get free eye testing done. That was one part, the campaigning. The other part was the nature of the camp, the eye testing. So there were some students who were actually doing the eye testing, so they had to learn it from the optician and had to do that. And then, there were people who were managing the entire logistics, that, where what things has to be placed, who's going to do what duty. There was a leader there. There were, several positions, just like how it is in a workspace. So the project was such that you really, really had to do a lot of things. And that definitely fosters student development. They learn a lot of skills unknowingly, which is really useful for them in the future.
thank you so much, ma'am. That was, a very well explained by you. So, lastly, do you think that this community service should be a part of the school curriculum and students should be evaluated based on their contribution?
I would say definitely yes, it should be part of the curriculum. But evaluation is something which I'm always very worried, because the moment it comes to marks and reports, then the community service will not be like, something that you want to do voluntarily or willingly. People will do it because they have to get marks.
Yeah.
So that part I definitely don't like. But as part of curriculum is concerned, as you know, that NEP is now talking about skill-based development. Community service can develop all the 21st century skills that are enlisted, like the communication, leadership, research, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving. That when you're working in a community, you don't know what problems will crop up. You really have to come up with some creative ideas. You need to connect to people. So, all these things, as we are saying, 21st century skills can be done through community service. It's totally experiential learning. There is no textbook to it. It is totally experiential learning. And all boards across the world promote this teaching pedagogy. So I would say yes, it should be part of the curriculum.
Yes, ma'am. So I think we all can agree to it that it should be a part of school curriculum, so that the students also knows the value of sharing things with others and helping out others. It could be a good idea. So thank you so much, ma'am.
I would
Yeah,
also like to add, two more points, Mehak, if we
yeah.
are not running out of time.
No, ma'am,
Uh,
absolutely not. Please,
all right.
please say.
So one is that a lot of my students also ask. So I thought I will use this forum to address this particular question, which is that does community service add to a student's profile when you are applying to universities in India or abroad? So recently there was a Forbes survey done, and the Forbes surveys say that on 264 admission officers, the survey was done in US colleges, and 58% of the admission officers agreed that community service has a positive impact on students' acceptance. And additionally, 61% of admissions leader at private four-year universities reported community service as a tiebreaker. So there are scholarships available to students who have done community services in many universities abroad. And it is important to colleges. Why? Because it indicates that the student is likely to be active on campus, outside of class. They are going to contribute to the university's mission. And today's, world need future leaders who are socially conscious, responsive, and responsible. In India, also, all good private universities take into consideration community service while admitting. So I would say, even if you do not get opportunity in your school, check for NGOs nearby. There are religious organizations that promotes community service. There are hospitals, youth forums. So please, all dear students who are watching this, please do find time for community service. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was, a very wonderful session with you. It was so
Thank
great
you.
to have you here again.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Mehak. Thank you, Entab team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And for all the viewers watching us out, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.